Welcome to Kat's Candid Conversations. Kat McKeno is an award-winning journalist who has interviewed compelling people and organizations from around the world who make a difference.
Today we're going to talk to Watts Township resident Josh Gerber, who has been working with locals who he says would also experience the negative impacts of the centers. Using policy and advocacy, he is committed to making sure the harm to its residents and the environment don't outweigh the proposed benefits. All right, a very warm welcome to you, Josh Gerber.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Good. First, I'd like to ask you to explain to our listeners exactly what is an AI data center in very simple words.
AI data center is the computer that runs everything in our data, in our digital life, like anything that you like on Facebook, anything you watch on Facebook, anything you watch on Netflix, any streaming services that you are watching, basically anything digital, it all has to be uploaded to a cloud. And the cloud is basically data centers from all around the country that store our data and store it for whatever purposes you have agreed to in your terms of use, which you never read.
So we need AI data centers in order to use our apps, our computers.
Yes, the current data centers that we have right now can handle everything that we use right now. Like just storing our data, storing, what we like, don't like, what we like on our algorithms, all that stuff. The data centers that exist today handles all of that. So yes, we need it for our current life right now.
How big are they, the ones that handle everything now?
They're just as big as the ones they want to build now. It's just people are paying more attention to more of them going up and more of them going up in places where they're not usually put up.
So they're not really against them. They just don't want them where they live, in their communities. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's been a growing concern of building data centers in places of nature, where wildlife are, where farming communities are. And most people that live in those areas want to keep their areas the way they are. Now, it's a big tax revenue for those less sparsely populated areas, but most of those people would say that they'd rather have less tax revenue than have a data center be built in a cornfield or in a wheat field or a soybean field. They'd rather keep the field and not have these giant warehouse-looking buildings in their area.
Well, there are currently about 4,200 data centers, and hundreds more are being built right now. And according to the national polls, about 77% of Americans do not want them in their communities, including you. And you're very active in trying to get it not to be built in your community. Are they trying to build it in your community? And why don't you want it there?
Yeah. So in 2020, I believe the first fight was when I wasn't living there. It was just a warehouse called Susquehanna Crossings. The developer was trying to put in a warehouse for logistics, shipping, and stuff like that. They fought it. The local township people fought it and won. And then they resubmitted a data center build instead in the same location. Just a different build.
And this was in 2020?
I believe it was 2020 before I moved there. But the vast majority of the people in Watts Township do not want this built. At all the meetings, when public statement is available, every single person is talking in the negative. They do not want to build there. They want to build somewhere else. They want to be built in empty warehouses in Harrisburg, empty warehouses in Lancaster, empty warehouses all over central PA, instead of in prime agricultural land, which I agree with them. Why would you disrupt God's creation for a data center, especially when the people who live there and pay taxes there don't want it there? And we still don't know the effects of what a data center does to wildlife, to water, to even and to the humans who live near it. We still don't have that data.
So you're in Watts County.
Watts Township.
Watts Township.
Which is in Perry County.
And how many people are in the township?
About 1,200.
How is it going to affect having a warehouse there, a data center? How is that going to affect your environment?
Well, for one, we are a very limited tax revenued township. So they don't bring in very much tax revenue. So my biggest problem is if you bring in a data center, the tax revenue goes up, and then the supervisors and the boards get addicted to more tax revenue, which then makes them want to improve more things and build more things, and then they'll need to tax us more to upkeep those things. And it's an ever-evolving door of more taxes to pay, more projects to build, more things that they want to do to, quote-unquote, improve a township that actually would rather stay the way we are.
So you're saying if they have this data center, they're going to get taxes from the center and the owners, and that's going to make them want to get more taxes for the residents?
Yeah, I mean, you can look at our own government. When we started doing income tax, the size of our government skyrocketed. We went from a very small government to an enormous size government in about 30 years. We went from just taxing your income right for the World War I to FDR and the big New Deal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just once a government gets revenue and it's not even their money, they don't care about spending it. They just spend it. That's just the nature of government.
But it's not a fact that
it is a fact.
Taxes are going to go up.
Yes, Loudon. A good example is other places where they've been built.
Like where? Give me an example.
At the beginning of Loudon's data center, Loudoun County, Virginia, when it was first built, it was a massive tax bump to their county. Okay, but if you look at how much Loudoun County spends then before the data centers to now, you can obviously see that tax is going up, and they're spending more tax revenue as the years go on. Because once elected officials get money, they just want to keep spending because it's not their money.
So the taxes have gone up for the residents who
that too.
live there.
Yes, the taxes have went up, obviously, and also that's the other thing that other people have talked to me about. Other people have mentioned when the developers come to these meetings and local residents talk to the developer. We're like, they say, "Oh, you should be happy because this means your property value is going to go up." And most of our residents are like, "Well, we don't want our land to go up because we don't want to sell it. We want to stay here. We want to live here.
This is our home.
This is our home. We don't intend to sell it and move. We want to keep Watts Township. We don't really care how much our houses go up in value. This is our homes. We don't intend on leaving." And of course they don't understand that.
What is their response when
those
are the concerns of the residents?
They just say, "Oh, okay, that's how you feel then." Because developers.
Who are the developers, by the way?
MRP Industrial. They're based out of Maryland. They develop up and down the East Coast, mainly in warehouses and shipping logistics and stuff like that. But I mean, I think it's hard for me to explain, maybe to you two, but my way of life and the people where I live is a lot like where I'm from in Missouri. We want to be left alone. We don't want the government especially our local government, we don't want our local government to really interact with us too much. And so my biggest concern, which I expressed to our supervisors, was the minute you let a corporation come into our township, the first one, once you let them in, what's going to come in after them? So if we let MRP come in and build and they do whatever they want to do.
How big is it going to be?
Well, we're so close to Harrisburg. Our township is along 11 and 15 and 322. Those are semi-truck highways. We're worried that if you bring commercial industry into Watts Township, you crack that door open, how long is it until it's just a suburb of Harrisburg? And we don't want to be a suburb of Harrisburg.
Well, how big is there a warehouse there now? Or they're going to build it? How big are they planning on building a warehouse?
There's going to be 15 buildings.
15 buildings?
15 separate buildings. It's a campus-style data center that they had proposed. It's not one massive building. It's 15 different buildings.
How many acres?
Over 250 acres.
It's a lot of land.
Yes, and the land, and the most egregious. Now, look, I've only lived there for a year and a half, but the most egregious thing is that the land itself wasn't really industrial. It was a horse ranch, so open fields. You can imagine horses on the fields. I think he did race horsing too, so it was prized horses that lived there. And because it was a business, it was zoned industrial, even though it's basically agriculture. It's grass, sun, water, horses. It's more.
But the zone is commercial.
But the zone is commercial. It was a really big mistake. Whoever did that, it was a massive mistake. So it's not like this was already an industrial hub. This is just God's beautiful earth. And they're trying to build 15 different 50-foot high structures with massive generators.
Which would create a lot of noise.
Which would create a lot of noise.
The generators.
Yes. And no, like I said, no one that I've talked to, which I've talked to a lot of people in Watts Township, even the t-ball coach that my son was on, he's absolutely against it.
How far are the houses from where it would be built?
So the property is pretty large. I think the closest house is within 1,000 feet of it, because at one of the meetings they tried to create 1,000-foot buffer zone, and they said, "Oh, we can't have 1,000-foot buffer zone because there's a residential house within 1,000 feet of the property line of where the data center would be built." So we were only able to do like a 300 or 400-foot buffer zone instead. So there's houses close to it. And also, Danny, what's the name of the island that I sent you?
Oh yeah, it had a number. It was
It's State Game Lands 290, but what's the island called? It starts with an H. I wish I could remember off the top of my head.
Yeah.
What about the island?
So this island is a home to bald eagles. It's like a nesting ground.
Is that in?
It's in the Susquehanna.
Okay, but it's not where you are.
It's in the Watts Township.
Oh, it is there.
Yeah. So like Watts Township, the one border is the Susquehanna River. And then the Susquehanna River has islands, right? And there's this giant island right off 1115. And it's a wildlife preserve.
And that's part of your county.
That's part of our township, part of our county.
So what would happen to the bald eagles?
Well, from what we've seen, the loud humming, that's going to impact wildlife. I mean, everyone has already.
Is that a fact?
It depends on the experts you talk to, because if you go to litigation, each case you'll have an expert that says it does affect wildlife, and then another expert that will testify and say it doesn't affect wildlife.
Is it determined who brings the expert in?
Yes, yeah.
I've seen that before.
It's unfortunate, but yeah. But the bald eagles have been nesting there for years. And there's other endangered species that call that home as well on this island. And the island, it's a massive island, and it's only a mile and a half away.
It's a mile and a half away
as the bird flies. It's a mile and a half away
from the data center.
From the data center,
that's pretty close.
And I'm within the 3-mile radius of the data center as well.
Oh, you're 3 miles away.
Actually, no, wait. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'm a mile and a half away as the crow flies in a radius.
How far are you from the data center? Your house.
So if you're looking at a map, I'm a mile and a half away.
You're really close.
Yes, but like using miles is kind of hard to do without showing you the map. But like if the data center is in the middle of a piece of paper, I'm within a mile and a half on a piece of paper from the data center, from where it's going to be built.
Would you be impacted by the generators and the noise and the truck? Because there's going to be trucks coming in and out as well.
So I'm not as hyperbolic as other people are. I don't think I'm going to be affected by the noise. I might hear the echo of the generators. If the generators come on, if they lose electricity, they'll kick the generators on. I think I'll hear that because I can hear the trains at night from the Susquehanna. So I think I'll hear. If I can hear the trains, I'll be able to hear the generators. But even that's not really what concerns me. My biggest concern is my well. Because this is a campus-style data center, so if you have 15 buildings, you have to have facilities in there for the workers in 15 different buildings. So you have to have multiple bathrooms, multiple sinks, multiple water lines being going from one to another. So a lot of the residents are really worried about their wells because most people that live in the township are on a well. And MRP has basically admitted that wells could be an issue because they have a $2.5 million bond already as part of the plan.
Well, how much water do they use? They use a tremendous amount of water.
It's tricky. It depends on the kind of data center. Some of them are closed loop, which they'll fill them up. They'll last for about 4 years, and then they'll have to replenish. Ours is a closed loop as of right now. The data center that is on the Susquehanna at 3 Mile Island, I think, is going to use 73 million gallons a day. But that's not a closed loop system. That's a continuous system.
So what is your system?
Closed loop.
So how much water would they? How many gallons?
I think it's in the tens of thousands. They haven't settled on how much water they need yet because they still haven't committed totally. As far as I know, they haven't totally committed on whether or not it is a closed loop or not yet.
But it's still a lot of water, and they need the
It's
water.
a lot of water
to cool the chips.
It's a lot of water, but also not to be hyperbolic. Again, like a lot of other people, it's not like they're gonna use the water from their well. What they're gonna do is they're gonna truck the water in.
Oh, they'll truck it in.
They'll truck it in and then use it for 4 years and then truck it out. So the water consumption isn't as much as a problem as some people would like to think it is. The biggest concerns, like I said, is people living in a very small agricultural leave me alone culture. You open a door to a corporation that's so close to Harrisburg. What's going to come next? This sets the precedent that a corporation can just come right into Watts Township, do whatever it wants, and our culture is just going to get eaten away. It's just going to fade away, and it's going to turn into a suburb of Harrisburg, and none of us want that.
What is a corporation going to bring in?
Workers, and that's another. But
isn't that revenue for the state and for the the county?
So it will be the biggest revenue that this data center is going to bring is to the school, not even to my township. So our school district is Susquehanna. They're going to get around at least $20 million out of this.
$20 million
dollars
from this one data center. In your township.
Yes, from the data center in my township. Yes, but Susquehanna is not even in my township. The estimates of how much tax money that my township is going to get is only $400,000. So the school that's not even in my township, it's in the township over, gets over $20 million, and my township's only going to get $400,000.
So it's not going to be a tremendous difference. But how about electricity? Are you concerned about the consumption of electricity? Because from what I read and from what I've heard from people who are for the data centers too, that they take up like a small town of electricity, and if you've only got 1,200 where you are, really small, where are they going to get the electricity?
There is a substation that is near where the data center is built, which is why it was one of the perfect places for a data center to be built, because there's a substation nearby.
What do you mean by substation?
Well, a substation is basically where all the electricity, runs into, and then it disperses out to wherever it needs to go.
Different townships?
Well, different residents, different businesses. Like a substation, like how our grid works is we have power plants. Power plants basically move the electricity to a substation. Substation then disperses out to down the power lines to transformers. Transformers then go to your houses, to a business and whatnot. There's a substation that is close enough to where it was an appealing place to build a data center. But still, they're going to draw more power, and then it's going to cause our demand to go up, which then means our rates will go up. And another thing that's kind of frightening is that the people who live in Watts Township are not wealthy people. These are farmers. A lot of it is retirees. A lot of it is people who are trying to escape from the cities especially during COVID, like me. You know, like I left Lancaster because, quite frankly, I didn't like living around so many people anymore. I didn't like the culture. I didn't like any of that. So a lot of people moved away to get away from all this.
And you're going near a data center.
Yeah.
You wanted to get away from it, and
Right.
here you are fighting
Right.
against the data center.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. But the people who live in Watts Township aren't super wealthy people that can afford $100 more a month in electricity bills.
How much more a month?
I mean, some people are saying it's going to be $50 to $100 more a month once the data center is running. So,
But that could be a lot to people who
That's
are
a
living
lot.
on Social Security, who are retirees.
that's a lot to a
or-
working class man like me who has 4 children and has a stay-at-home mom. That's a lot. That's a lot. You know, like I would say I'm doing fairly well, but I'm still a working class, you know, man. I wouldn't even say I'm lower middle class. I think I'm just working
You
class.
work in the farm industry?
Yes. I work in the farm industry.
Okay.
And I get paid well. But I would still say,
Well, you have 4 kids.
yeah, 4 kids it takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of revenue. But yeah, like when we brought up how much our electricity is going to be, you know, the developers, you know, they don't care.
What did they say when you brought that up?
They don't
That's-
care. They don't really answer your questions. It's really weird. They had a seminar a couple months back where like we went there and they had these experts that they paid to come up and have these different talks about what the data center is going to do, and they were there. So most of us, you know, we went and looked at the boards that they had and read the stuff.
How
and,
many people would you say went?
Well, when I
your
was there,
group?
there was about 50 when I went to the seminar.
Okay.
And I stayed there and talked to them for like 40 minutes straight to the developers. And their arrogance is probably the most hurtful thing.
How were they? Give me an example of their arrogance.
They know that they have the upper hand and that the law is on their side and that the politicians are on their side, because what do politicians do best? It's they help develop corporations, so the corporations pay taxes and revenues, so they then donate to their campaigns. It's just a revolving wheel of corruption.
Is your township board, are they for it or against it? Are they?
So I think at our level of governance, at the municipal level, you're dealing with a lot of people who are supervisors and are on boards that they just kind of go along to get along, and they like the title. Like the title is more important than the work that they do.
Are they leaning toward approving it?
They have no choice but to approve it. And that's the problem with the law. That's the problem with Pennsylvania right now, is that you can't really stop a data center from being built. There's no actual way to stop it.
If it's on a commercial zone.
If it's on a commercial zoning area, there's no way to stop it.
Okay, well, going back to the developers, you said they're very arrogant.
Very
Give me an
arrogant.
example when you felt you weren't being heard and they were condescending. That's what I assume you felt they were being condescending to you.
The one thing that really, they wouldn't even give lip service to a hypothetical. So me and, I don't know, 10 other people were just standing there talking to it. We're like, why don't we put it up to a vote? Like, come November, why don't we put it on the ballot? If more than 50% of the people vote in favor of the data center, you guys build it, hypothetically. But if over 50% say no, you guys sell the land and leave. And the first thing that they touched, the first thing they said next, was that democracy it basically isn't more important than property rights.
What? They actually said democracy?
Democracy isn't as important than property rights, which I agree with them.
What does that mean exactly?
So your property rights are your property rights. Just because 51 people out of 100...
Oh, they own it so they can do what they want with it.
Yes, which libertarian-minded I am, I do agree with them. But here's the thing. They're building it from a corporation standpoint, not as a human being. And corporations have way, way, way too much power than just a human being. And that is the chief problem with the way our government's structured right now. A corporation has more rights than just one person does.
So you're saying that corporation has more rights than the people
that
who
live
Watts
and breathe
Township.
and raise their children on that land, in that township.
So even though a majority of you do not want the data center
They
in your area, there's nothing really you can do to go against a corporation that owns the land
yeah.
and that's in commercial zoning.
Yes, and
That's their right.
the developers live in Westchester and Maryland.
So they don't have to be near it.
They don't have to be near it. They'll never see our faces again once it's built. They'll never come and visit ever again. They're just playing lip service to the locals while they can, while they have to. And it's really concerning because even like Larry Fink, who's one of the richest people in the world, was caught on camera saying that we need to have military-style drones protecting data centers from domestic terrorism. I'm sorry, but if something is so good for the people like they're trying to tell us it is, why in the world would you need military drone technology to protect a public good from the people that live there?
Why is that?
Because they know that everyone is against it. Everyone in their townships and their municipalities that are getting these things built on their property or around them, they know that there's nothing that the residents can do about it but become radical. And then for them to protect their investment, they're saying, well, I guess we're just going to have to use drones for domestic terrorism. When was the last time we had any domestic terrorists destroying a public good? Like, some people have pointed to the 1970s, which I wasn't alive then.
Yeah,
Someone said something
recall.
about electric substations were bombed in the 70s or something like that. Someone had said that as a rebuttal. But if it's a public good, normal, hardworking Americans aren't going to sabotage it if it's a public good. So why would Larry Fink, a billionaire, say they're going to need protected?
Because he doesn't live there.
Well, it's because he knows that it's not a public good.
But they are saying that with these data centers, it'll be great for cancer treatment, designing new technologies, that it's like any technology. When we first get it, we don't want it. Like the internet. We don't want it, we're scared of it.
Like the railroad.
And then, but then we accept it, and it is for the better good in the long run. That's what they say. How would you answer that?
I think they're correct.
Then if it's for the betterment for cancer treatment, why would you be against it then?
Because they're putting it in places where it doesn't belong.
So you would just like to see it in different areas
They need to put it.
communities.
They need to put it in hardcore industrial zones, not an old horse ranch in a piece of land that's between the Juliana River and the Susquehanna River.
So why don't they move to somewhere else? Why aren't they doing
Because
that?
they are claiming their property rights. They said, why would we move when this is the perfect location for us? And we don't care that 1,200 of you people that live there don't want it. I have property rights as a corporation, just like how you have property rights on your 4 acres to do what you want on your property. That's within the zoning laws of the township.
So you're against it because your taxes will be raised, the environmental and the feeling and the cohesiveness of the community will be changed. More people will start coming in, trucks are going to come in, and the corporate's going to open the door to a lot of commercialism coming in.
Yeah.
But you're not worried about the noise.
I think
the bald eagles also, you're worried about.
Well, of
that
course
as
I'm worried
well.
about the bald eagles and wildlife. Wildlife and changing the culture of my township are the top 2. But again, I'm not against the technology. It's just that they're choosing to put them in places where they literally do not belong. One of the booths at the seminar that I was saying, they had a booth that was talking about the economic effects. You know, it said it was going to employ, once built, it would employ 350 people. So I was talking to the economist, who wasn't even an economist, funny enough, It was the economist booth, but he wasn't an economist.
Strange.
He said, yeah, it'll employ 350 people. And I said, okay, great. Of the 350 people employed, how many will need a college education? And he said, about half. And I said, that right there proves that this is not where it should be built, because not very many people in Watts Township have a college education.
And is it 350 long term, or is it just initially and then
the
they don't
build
need as many?
The build is like 1,200 people. It's going to employ like 1,200 to 2,000 people, I think, was the numbers on the board.
The whole population of your
to build it.
tent?
Build it.
Oh,
to,
construction.
The construction
initially.
And then it said they need 350 people on either full-time, part-time work will be needed for it to run. So basically, of the 350, half of them need a college education. The other half won't. And I said, well, like this isn't the township. If you're trying to tout this as local jobs for our community,
they'll have to bring people in.
You're going to import people with college education, which is going to bring in different political views, different cultural views, and you're going to change the identity of our township from leave us alone and let us live our lives in peace to, well, I hate to say it, the way liberals go into an area and take it over. And they say, oh, we need this rule, we need this rule, we need this rule for safety, we need a painted crosswalk for safety.
But this is a bipartisan issue. 77% who are against them coming into your communities are Republican and Democrats. So it is a bipartisan issue.
It is, but when you bring in the workers to work the data center, the people who they're going to bring in are going to be college educated, which are going to lean left. So when you bring it, it's true. I'm sorry, it's true. The highest majority of graduates are liberal or Democrat.
Where is that written? Where is that?
You can look it up right now, Danny. You can look it up right now.
No,
it's
I
over.
agree with that.
It's over 50% of people graduating from college are Democrat or liberal leaning, whichever way you want to say it. But our community is almost entirely leave us alone.
Okay.
Conservative, Republican people.
And you just want to live in your community.
I want to live.
Peace.
I want to live in peace, because I ran away from Lancaster. I had to take my family and leave. I mean, I liked Lancaster for the years I lived, but it got too big. Like Mount Joy just exploded. From the time we got married and lived in that area to 2020, at the end of 2024, Mount Joy just exploded.
So you just wanted some peace and calm and have land.
Yeah, to do our homesteading and to do homeschooling and there's plenty of people who are of the same mindset. Because when I said, hey, when I did my public speaking there, I said, hey, I don't know how valid my opinion is because I just moved here, but I don't want corporations to come into this township. That I just saw what corporations did to Mount Joy. It's terrible. It's horrible.
What's it like there now?
Well, Mount Joy was just like I don't want to sound like Mr. Beaver or whatever, but like it was just small town living, and the traffic wasn't nuts. The people were very nice. Like it was slow paced, But then as the years went on, from when I first moved here in 2015 to when we moved to Perry in 2020, at the January of 2025, Mount Joy was just. It took 10 minutes to get from the sheets. The sheets off 283. It took you 10 minutes to get from there to the inner city Mount Joy, and it's not even like 2 miles. It's not even a mile and a half. 2 miles. It took 10 minutes. It just exploded. They built warehouses there. They built new shopping centers there. They built all kinds of stuff. They tore down this beautiful farm. I can't believe it wasn't preserved, Danny. I can't believe it wasn't preserved. They tore down this beautiful farmhouse and farm barn and put up giant warehouses.
Well, people are complaining.
There's
a group of people complaining about all the development.
Oh, yeah. E-Town has the same thing. E-Town is fighting warehouses like crazy.
Well, I want to name some counties because Pennsylvania is experiencing a massive wave of data center development, and tech and investment companies have announced over $90 billion in AI and data center related projects nationwide. So there is Cumberland County, Luzerne Bucks Counties, Lancaster, there's a few more. I had it here. Lehigh Valley, Allen Township, approved plans to convert a 1 million square foot warehouse into a hyperscale data center. And they say that these multi-billion-dollar developments aim to boost infrastructure and state revenue. And they are also drawing significant local organizing like you and pushback. And residents and local town people have raised concern over the massive power and water demands and environmental disruptions during construction. Mm-hmm. So it's happening all over the state of Pennsylvania as well. And there's more in here that I didn't name where they would like to build them.
I think it's particularly egregious when you take pristine land that is nature's and then you put a data center there. Like I said, all the empty warehouses in Detroit, the empty warehouses in Harrisburg, empty warehouses in New York City, vacant lots in Harrisburg that are industrial zoned, like, I don't understand why they wouldn't build them there. Like, build them where they should be, in heavy industrial zones. A horse farm is not the place to put one of these things. It just isn't. It just isn't. It doesn't match the township. It doesn't match our needs. No one wants it. And again, our laws in Pennsylvania are literally keeping us from democratically doing what we want to do. Because what we would like to do is we would like the people to have the say, right? The favorite buzzword of Democrats is democracy, and the favorite buzzwords of Republicans is a republic. Neither of those right now are going to protect us, we the people, from these data centers, because there is no law that lets us fight it if we want to fight it. There is nothing we can do. The only thing we can do is, like what our township has tried, is we're trying to make our zoning ordinances like super difficult for them to build.
But they already have the commercial zoning, so you would have to change. Yeah. It would take the votes from your...
Well, no. So we've changed. We are attempting to change some of our zoning laws to purposely make it harder for MRP to build.
But they already have the zoning.
They already have the zoning.
They would have to overturn the zoning.
Well, and again, we can't. That's against the law. They'll sue us, and our township will go bankrupt.
It's going to be there.
But what we can do is we can make the build costly and hard for them to build. So they requested a zoning ordinance of 65-foot high buildings plus 20 foot on top of that.
So you're fighting.
We're fighting it through ordinances, through building ordinances to make it more difficult. But even when you do that with the ordinances, there are lawyers present who then ask your supervisors, "What's your intentions of that?" Like about a 10-minute spat at the last meeting I went to. There was a 8-foot fence barrier that has to be built around anything industrial in our township. That's a new ordinance. An 8-foot high fence.
Okay.
And then our we had another ordinance that any kind of water retention also needed an 8-foot high fence, just to add more cost, make it more of a hassle. If you can make it harder, we're going to do it. Now the lawyer interjected and said, "What's your intentions of an 8-foot high fence around the water retentions?" And our supervisor said, "Well, it's a water retention. We don't want kids falling into the water retentions." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, but you already have an ordinance for an 8-foot perimeter. I mean, how would the kid get in there?" And then our supervisor said, "Well, I don't know, but if they get in there, I want a fence to be there." And he said, "Okay, well, why not a 4-foot fence? Why not a 6-foot fence?"
He's arguing about it.
Yes, he is there. The lawyer is there basically to check our supervisors and make sure that we're not trying to make it impossible to build, because that would be a lawsuit.
So what happened? What was the outcome of it?
Our supervisor bravely said, "Well, this is our township. This is our ordinance. He didn't really give a reason why. I mean, I think the lawyer knew why, and MRP knew why, and we all knew why, but he said, this is our ordinance, this is what we're doing for public safety. And
have they broken ground already?
They haven't broken ground. Again, this started 6 years ago for a warehouse build called Susquehanna Crossings. MRP's been trying to build something on this land for 6 years. And then once the data center boom happened, they went from trying to get a warehouse built to trying to get a data center built.
The same owners.
The same owners, the same land. They just put in a different application. It went from Susquehanna Crossings, a logistic hub, to a data center.
So what is the goal that they want to start building it?
Well, their goal is they want to make a data center because that's going to make them way more money.
When do they want to break ground?
I think next year. I think next year is when they want to break ground. We're at the end stages right now.
Do you believe that they'll be able to do it?
Yeah.
That it's going to happen?
Yeah.
Will you stay in Watts Township if they do?
I want to. I want to stay there. It's just, you can't shut the door once you allow corporations into your township. It never stops. I mean, if 10 years from now, if Watts Township is, like I said, just a suburb of Harrisburg, I'll have no choice but to relocate.
What I hear you saying, your message to people who are listening to this, is I am not against technology. I'm not against data centers and the possible good they could bring. What I'm against is coming into my neighborhood, my community, that I moved here to get away from big corporations and raise my family. I'm against you coming in and destroying that for me.
Yeah, I think it's not just me though. It's everyone.
No, that's a good point.
The whole community
has come together.
The whole community is like, we just want to be left alone. Like take that to Mechanicsburg. You know, take that to Marysville or
our community.
Enoto.
We're all together in this. We all agree on this.
Yeah.
But you don't have much hope.
I don't have much hope that we'll stop it because of the lack of interest in our politicians to do what they need to do.
What is our governor, Josh Gerber? Where does he stand on AI data centers?
He's been shaking hands with Dave McCormick on this. So you have a Democrat who basically says that Republicans are a threat to democracy, shaking hands and doing business with Dave McCormick. So it's basically a uniparty thing. Both parties want this to happen.
The politicians want more data centers in Pennsylvania.
Yes, Republicans and Democrats.
Politicians fighting against it?
I like my state rep. My state rep, unfortunately, though, knows too many people personally that's in this fight, so he stayed out of it. My state rep isn't going to do anything because he said it's a local issue. However, it's not a local issue if the state is keeping us from banning it outright, because the state will not put laws into place allowing townships to do the democratic thing and ban it if the township wants it banned.
Isn't it a community that spans all over?
What do you mean?
Your rights to live in the community without a data center?
Well, we don't have that right because of...
You don't have anybody fighting for you, is what you're saying.
Well, no, the politicians won't fight for us, again, because it's more convenient to point the finger to the municipality. The municipality are fighting this with their hands behind their back. Like, I believe our supervisors don't want it. I don't think our supervisors want it. Reluctantly, though, they have to allow it because of the Supreme Court.
Because of the law.
Well, because of the Supreme Court case. It's not even a law passed by our state legislator and signed by our governor. It's a court case from 1977. So the whole precedence that municipalities can't fight data centers is based off of a court case.
What is, in very short
Danny, do you have the official title of it?
No, not the title. Just what is the summary of it?
The summary of the court case is that you cannot exclude businesses or housing developments from a zone where it is legally to build them.
Okay, got it. All right, we've kind of run out of time. Before we end, Danielle, do you have a question you'd like to ask Josh?
Not really. By the way, that island you were asking about, it's called Haldeman Island?
Haldeman Island.
The,
yes. Yeah.
So then you don't. So then before, do you?
Oh, I was just going to ask on a personal note, do you kind of wish that your township, before you'd moved there, had built the warehouse instead of the AI data centers? Would that have been better in retrospect?
If I have to choose between the two, I would choose the warehouse over the data center, even though it's way less money. Like again, most of the people in the township don't care about their tax revenue. We just want to be left alone. But I mean, I would rather deal with semi trucks on 322 and 11 and 15 than have to deal with whether or not my well's going to go dry. Because if my well goes dry, that's $20,000 to $30,000 if I have to do another well. Also, I have no idea what's going to happen to the wildlife with the constant humming. And again, my biggest fear is opening the door to corporations in our township. Biggest fear overall. That is, no one wants corporations coming into our township. None of us want it. We just want to be left alone. We want the country to stay country, and we don't we just don't want it here. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to win.
Well, what is the message you would like to give to people who are hearing this? Can they do anything? What is it you want to?
I don't know what you want me to say. Our municipalities have their hands tied behind their back fighting a grizzly bear. The only thing you can do in your specific township is make your zoning ordinances so restrictive and hard to build that it's not appealing to them. The problem is that almost all of them are playing catch up. Almost all of the townships that are fighting data centers are playing catch up, and they're frantically trying to get these ordinances in because someone's already applied to build something. I think Penn Township in Perry County, they did this a year ahead of time, and therefore they were able to not have to worry about the lawyers. They didn't have to worry about the lawyers being like, why are you putting this in? Why are you putting this rule in? Because they just did it ahead of time.
Oh, they already approved it.
They had already approved it. They'd already passed. And
so they're already making it difficult for them.
Yes.
Right,
yes.
Is it working?
For them, yes. For them, it is. But again, where everyone else is playing catch up because this just exploded. This just completely and totally exploded. It threw townships for a loop, and all they heard was, "Oh, the law says you can't stop it." Oh, the law says you can't stop it, which is true. But I think right now we need to talk to our politicians, and we need to say we need to make a state law that gives municipalities a right to ban data centers if the people don't want data centers. That's the most logical thing to do. Is if you believe in democracy, if you believe in the people ruling the government and not the government ruling them, then the state legislator and the governor need to pass a law that says municipalities can outright ban something that their people don't want.
And probably people who aren't in that situation don't really have the reality that it could come into their community.
Right.
And change the feel of it until it happens to them.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for telling us what you're going through, what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to talk about it. I wish I had rose-colored glasses, but logically, I think it's already over for us. We just got to hope that other states can fight it better than we could.
It must be very disheartening for you.
Right now, I'm just worried that my well's going to go dry. The most immediate thing is I'm worried my well's going to go dry because I have a weak well to begin with.
Didn't you say they were going to bring water in?
Yes, but when you have 15 outbuildings, if you have 15 different buildings, how many bathrooms are going to be in each building? How many wash stations are going to be in each building? You have to have facilities for the people who work there. So you're going to be pulling more water at one place than ever before in the township, all at once.
Even though they're trucking
the water in for the closed loop.
I wonder how much that would be? How much water they'd use?
I'm in the agricultural industry,
Right.
and one chicken house barn takes 4,000 gallons a day of water.
So how many,
for chickens?
How many gallons?
And that's just for chickens to drink water in a chicken house.
How many gallons of water do you think they'd need?
I know they were approved for a certain amount per day, but I don't even know. I can't even remember what it was. They got approved in the township for a certain amount of gallons a day. I do not know how they
Would
meter
it be
that.
millions, do you think?
No. Again, the water is going to be trucked in for the cooling.
Right, yeah.
This is the water that the facility is going to need for the people working there.
But there's only how many residents that they can pull it from.
Right. And at the end of the day, everyone's aqueducts are connected. Okay, so if you have a farmer that's a mile away from the data center and he only has 100-foot well and he's struggling already getting water and keeping his well working, and then you bring in this with all the workers and also all the construction, they're going to need water when they're constructing. How long until his reservoir goes under that 100-foot mark and he has no water? And then he's going to have to drill deeper. And then the question is, how much deeper does he drill?
I see. And this is your home. This is your home.
If you don't have water, you don't have a home. If you don't have a home if you don't have water. I mean, I have 50 chickens, a pig, 5 goats, and 4 kids that love to play in the water. I'm not the best at conserving water myself, but yeah, I don't know how we go forward without getting our politicians to do what we want them to do, and we're not very good at that.
Well, we wish you the very best.
Well, you guys too. You guys have 2 of them. I only have 1.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on and explaining
Thanks for having
your
me.
story. I think it's given people a realistic outlook about what's going on.
I hope so.
Yeah.
The only way this stuff changes is if we start electing people that are actual human beings.
Because we have the vote.
Yes.
That's our power.
We have to stop voting for career politicians. We have to stop voting for people that put their agenda ahead of your agenda. We can't keep doing this. We keep usurping our power to people who actually do not care about us, and that's both parties. It's not going to change until your carpenter is your elected official, your plumber is your elected official, your local newspaper writer is your elected official. It's not going to change until normal people are representatives again. It just won't change. Because the career politicians are there because it's their career. They're not there representing us, they're there representing them.
Are they there representing the people who donate to them?
Oh yeah, of course they are. Of course they are. So.
All right. Well, another thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Right. And again, we hope things work out for you.
Thank you.